Hey everyone, and welcome to IG8Live Esports. We're live this evening with L2S F1 Esports Tier 2, and it's good to be back on the F1 side of things for the league here. And just before we do get into everything, welcome to everyone currently joining on the stream already here with us. Please guys do make sure that you leave a like on the stream. Remember, if you're new on the channel, make sure you guys do subscribe before we get further on into this. Now getting started here, we're on with a short qualifying session before we do get into the 50% race as it is. And just a note guys, this is actually the start of season 3, so this is going to be round 1 of 11, which should finish just before the new game is set to be launched. So we have 11 weeks of this to go. Let's see, we got 14 drivers currently on track for the short qualifying sessions. 18 minutes already started to count down, so we're going to get a few stats up on screen. In the meanwhile, we have a look at some of these cars who are deciding to get off on track pretty early off in the session. And we'll probably keep tires off for now, so let's just have a look and see what's happening out on track in the meanwhile. So far as we have, it seems like we do have Deseret and Mookie out on track, and we're going to have a look at some of the interesting liveries that these cars are going to be running with, as it is a MPC league here on the F1 side of L2S. So going to be interesting to see what you guys actually designed for this season here. I'm going to try and get an overhead view of most of the cars as they all get out on track here. So first up is Mogi here, and I think his livery is mostly about white and got some black stripes on it. I'm trying to have a look on, yep, there we go. So quite an interesting one that he has here. Actually looks pretty good, I gotta say. Just plain and simple, but actually looks pretty good. So gotta say that's actually a pretty good one. Who is out next on track? We can just have a look. I'm just trying to have a look at the liveries that they have, at least in the first few minutes of the session. We got King Schemo here, got a green, and I'm not sure if it's a more looks more towards a purple and like a halfway of a pink. So they're just keeping it a bit plain and simple as it is right now. Not too bad so far with the colors, as I can see, guys. And we got Mosh here, pretty interesting one as well. Got some black and red going on. We'll be switching around just a bit so you guys can have a look at what the liveries do look like. Let me just going through the grid order in just a bit there as well. Got Column here out on track. Pretty colorful design that he does have getting around there. Front of the car looks pretty good. Coming down now straight there, we have T-Luck here. A bit of a close to like a neon green and black going on, so not too bad with the colors. Here is Bultex King on track, and he's mostly in the dark side of things with a bit of dark gold in there, I assume, if I did get that right. Kind of look at gold to a yellow, and it kind of just glitters around the track as he moves depending on the angle that you look at the car. So looking pretty good so far with deliveries that you guys have on. So good job on designing that. So let's see, we're gonna have some hot laps getting going here right now, and let's see what sort of lap times we're gonna see. Going back to Mogi here, right? He's in sector 2 of the track, about to get into sector 3 pretty soon. So we're gonna see what sort of lap times gonna start to come in. Oh, we got Deseret with a time in already at 1:26.4 here. So not too bad so far. We got 40 minutes still left here in qualifying. So let's see how the rest of the session goes. Only one lap time in. We're definitely waiting to see what the rest of the grid is going to put out here. And how well the rest of the times are going to hold up going to the end of the qualifying session. So let's see what our starting grid will look like at the end of this. So 14 drivers, and not sure if we'll have anyone join on before the session closes out, but either way we're going to work with that for round 1 opening race of the season 3. So should be an interesting race, especially being here at the Bahrain International Circuit. So we got some more times coming in there right now, as we can see. Let's go back on King Ski will follow his car just a bit. So we got Deseret fastest time in the session so far at 1:26.4. Callum goes second fastest now with a 1:26.8, and Mogi third fastest at 1:28.0. So as it is just a short qualifying session, guys, we gotta say just Deseret holding on to a provisional pole start for this race so far, but we know that that's not gonna be holding off too long, as some of these guys might be coming in with a faster time. We got Ian, we got T-Luck and King Simo on hot laps here right now. King Simo about to get across the line as he goes down that pit straight. Let's get on board and see where he's gonna go as he goes across here, and he goes fifth fastest at 1:28.2. Marsh goes 1:28. 1:28.4 there. So more and more times are starting to come in early off in the session. I don't think these guys are wasting any time with it. They're trying to get the lap times in as soon as possible, just in case they do get an invalidated lap on track. They're just trying to account and save themselves the time from that and make sure they do have enough time to get another lap in. We're on with Ian here. Where is he on track at the moment? Currently in sector 2. Let's see how his lap is going. Going to be very interesting to see how close the lap times are going to get as we get further down to the end of the session. But as we have it, Deseret still holds on the fastest lap here, and looks like his sectors, he did pretty well in sectors 1 and 2. But the sector 3 time was not the best. Column has the fastest sector 3 time so far as we have it. So there in P3 he is with a 126.8. Really not too far off. But I think he just needs to improve on his sectors 1 and sectors 2 times. So we'll see how that works. Ian goes 127.8 into 5th so far. Didn't get any purple sectors on that, unfortunately. So let's see how that's going to work for him. And then we got a bit of a change happening there now. Professor now goes up into P1, takes over provisional pole there away from Deseret. That's a 126.3 for him. So really not too bad of a time so far. We got Martin and Oliver here. Martin with a very interesting livery on his car, but getting back into the pits there. We got Oliver here on track. Bit of an eagle looking blue. The way the car looks at the front going, so quite interesting with that livery as you got to going on there. Reflection still in the pits, hasn't gotten out on track. Actually, I quite like that livery that Oliver's got on. It's quite interesting down the side of the car, the way it looks. And he does invalidate the lap, unfortunately. We're going to go on to Jitter here. Running just to get started on his hot lap, actually. So let's see how his lap is currently going. So far as we have it, guys, we're down to about 10 minutes left in this session. It was an 18-minute qualifying session to start. That's a short qualifying session. Very interesting livery from Jenna there as well. Yeah. So so far as we have just on 10 minutes left now. Professor holding on to provisional pole start for the race with a 126.3. Deseret in second, a 126.4. And I think it was quite close between them. Just trying to have a look at here right now. But yeah, the lap times are actually quite interesting between the two of them. So let's see how that's going to hold going down to the end of the session. And quite interesting enough, it seems like Professor only got fastest sector 3, but his time was actually so impressive through it. That's how he actually got ahead of Deseret. So going to be interesting to see how the rest of this session goes on through. Jenny goes into 9th with a 128.1 so far as we have it. Martin on another out lap. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at Deseret. Is he on another lap here? I'm trying to have a look here right now. No, I don't think he's on another lap. Let's go back to Martin. He was trying to get the back on an out lap going. Alright, so currently as we have it, so we just got Martin, Oliver, and Reflection are yet to set lap times here in this session, but Martin is on an out lap right now, getting started on this hot lap. Let's have a look on board with him actually and see how well this current lap is going to go for him. So getting started, getting around turn 1 here right now. It's a heavy braking zone getting into turn 1, so it's going to be interesting to see the opening lap of the race, how that's going to go. with 14 cars on track. They're definitely going to be fighting for positions when that race does get started. So we'll see how well that's going to work for them. And we can see Oliver is out on track right now. He's gotten out once again on a new set of tires, and he's going to try for a better lap. He's on an out lap at the moment. We still got reflection into the pits there. And Mogi has just improved his time there. I think he just went up to 4th with a 1:26.48. So really doing, that's quite impressive so far. He's only about 300 of a second off the time of bull testing so far. So he's placed pretty well on the grid. Let's see if that's going to hold up. This is a purple sector 2 coming off of Martin's lap right now. So he's looking pretty good as well here. I want to see where this is going to take him at the end of the lap here. And Martin goes up to 5th with that lap time. Really not too bad so far. If he does hold off with that for a starting position in the race, it will be pretty interesting to see where he ends up at the end of the race. But so far so good as we have it. So still down to now about just under 6.5 minutes here in the session. Professor still holds on to fastest lap here, and that's provisional start for him if he can keep that to the end. And that's a 1:26.3. Desert still in second there at 1:26.4. Voltex King now up to third at 1:26.458. He's only about 3 3/10. Oh, Voltex King now goes up fastest in the section with a 1:26.1, 2/10 faster than Professor there. So very interesting lap time coming off of him. That's quite impressive actually. So he now holds on to provisional pole start here for the Bahrain Grand Prix. If he can keep that time there in P1 for the next at least just under 6 minutes are left here. We'll see how that's going to work. So that pushes the rest of the grid down. Mogi is now into 4th, 1:26.4. Martin in the 5th, 1:26.7. Callum goes 6th, 1:26.8. He's still in back in the pits, hasn't gotten back out as yet. Jenner is 7th at 1:27.3. We got Ryan 8th with a 1:27.5. T-Lock in 9th at 1:27.8. And Ian in 10th on another outlap right now with a 1:27.851. He's only 100th of a second off the time of T-Lock right now for P9. So he's going to try to get a better time in before the session closes off here. And we do get onto that race start. So Oliver still on his lap here in Sector 2. I'm going to have a look at Ian's lap in just a bit as well. See, we're going to have a look, see if Reflection will be getting out to get a lap going. This guy's got about 5 minutes left here in qualifying right now. So really not a lot of time. I think that was a purple sector that just came off of Oliver's lap there. But it just showed for a second. So let me just have a see what was happening with that lap there as he finishes that off. So that was a fastest sector 2 for him there. And goes up into P4 1:26.458, about 300 of a second faster than Mogi did. Really quite an impressive lap. So the grid seems to be quite competitive here for season 3. Getting started with that, I gotta say, with the lap times being pretty close after each other. So it's gonna be interesting to see what our race start is gonna be looking like by the time we get on down to that session in another 4 minutes or so. So we're getting close after that time. Let's have a look down the back here with Ian, where he is on track here right now. Bit of carbon fiber on that black looking on his car, so it looks quite interesting, especially the red coming off of that. That is a purple sector 2 from Ian so far, so he's looking pretty good on this lap so far. And he did set fastest sector 1 as well, so let's see how the lap completes here right now, because he's about to get across the line. I might be heading up, but maybe into, yep, there he goes, and takes away the top spot right now. Provisional pole for him with a 1:25.9, and let's see if that holds on to the end of the session, because we've gone into the 1:25s now, and I think it's going to be a bit interesting to see if anyone can get into that time. Reflection finally out on track. Bit of blue and red on the livery on his car, not too bad looking. So he's on a hot lap going here right now. We got a few more guys still running on track. I know there's a Rat Oliver still out. We got Callum and Ryan getting back on out laps right now. Definitely trying to get a faster time in, but how interesting is going to be to see if anyone's going to be able to beat Ian's time right now. 125.9, very interesting time. Both King and Professor still into the pits. I don't see they're trying to make another effort at this one as yet, so I'm not sure if they're going to be settling for a second and third place start on the grid for the race. We'll see how it's going to go, but Reflection here still yet to set a time, so let's see what his lap time is going to look like. Track seems to be decently clear so far in front of him. Cars getting out of the way, so he should be able to set a pretty good time. Trying to have a look on some information on how his lap is currently going. I think T-Lock is getting out on track right now with trying to get another time in as well. Okay, so let's see where he does go with this lap here. It goes at 127.2. That puts him up into P10 so far on the grid as it is, so it's quite competitive pulling on through. Continuing from the 126.1 in secondary, both going to the 128, so very interesting to see what the lap times are looking like. I see Professor has gotten back out on track. Desert takes back the top spot here right now at 125.914, 100th of a second faster than what Ian did, so very competitive out front. So definitely going to be very interesting to see what is going to happen on the opening lap of this race. I don't know if it's going to be a safety car or VSC if things do tend to get just a bit heated going into turn 1 and 2 on this one. But these guys are usually careful with this, so we're going to see how well it's going to go. But it's going to be very interesting, going to be very close between the front runners as well, getting into the race itself and fighting for the lead as it is. Ian already out of the session there. We're down to just a minute left in qualifying right now, so very, very interesting and very impressed, I got to say, with the lap times that we're seeing here. 125.9 for both P1, P2, just separated by 100th of a second. Callum now goes up into third at 126.101. We're both testing there in 40s on an outlap right now. 126.199 is what he currently has. Professor down to 5th, Oliver into 6th, Mogi running 7th right now, so actually quite competitive within tier 2 as we have it right now. Once again, everyone joining on the session here with us, coming after the close of qualifying in about 5 seconds. Thank you guys for joining on. Please make sure you guys do leave a like on the stream, and make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel if you're new on here. And hopefully you guys are enjoying the stream so far. So let's see what we got Martin taking away the top spot there for P1 right now, the 125.7. So looks like he might be on provisional pole starting off the race. We still gotta wait for the session fully to come to an end. We got a lot of drivers on track right now running, trying to get a faster time in. Moki goes up into second place right now. Desert is now down to third. Where's Callum on track? He's trying to get a time in here as well. No, I think he slowed quite a bit down, so probably not going the fastest as he can on track. Let's see who else is currently still running a lap, and we got Professor doing a purple sector 2 as it is. Getting quite interesting down to the end of this session. Top 3 are out of it already, as we have Martin currently P1, Monkey currently second, Deseret currently third. Let's see if that's going to hold off as the end. Colin back into the pits, he's currently 5th, Ian currently 4th. Professor goes up into the top spot now right now, 125.755 at 100th of a second faster than Martin's time, and Martin was a 10th faster than what Mogi did. Mogi was another 10 faster than Deseret, so very, very close out front. Ryan here probably trying to get time in, I'm not sure. He seems to be slowing down just a bit, so possibly not getting a faster time in here. Let's have a look at both testing is gonna, oh, he's validated that lap, so that's gonna be it for him. I think everyone's gonna go back into the pits there right now, and that's gonna be it there for qualifying. But looks like Professor takes away provisional pole start here for the race. An interesting livery from here and there, as it starts off white and then just breaks off with the blue and white going off to the back of the car. Very interesting as we have it. So it's gonna be interesting to see what this race start is gonna look like, because that's quite close out front. I gotta say, just 100th of a second between P1 P2. Gonna be interesting to see what that run down to turn one's gonna look like with the two of them. Then we got Monkey, Deseret, Ian, and the rest of the grid coming just close out behind them, and lap times are really not too far off, so it's gonna be interesting to see how this will work out. Okay, so that is officially the end of our qualifying session. Here we're going to get on to the results here right now. So let's have a look. Looks like we have Professor starting P1. Martin will be starting second. We got Mogi starting third. Desert Rat will start fourth. Ian starts fifth on this one here. Callum starts sixth. Gina will be in seventh place. Ryan there in eighth. Walter's King in ninth. We got Oliver 10th. Mosh will be 11th. Reflection makes it up to 12. T-Lock in 13. King Schemo there in 14th on the grid. I remember we are using the NPC cars, the multiplayer cars, so gonna be interesting to see what libraries will be looking like. No team cars on this one. Fastest lap time was a 1:25.755. So gonna be interesting to see what our race out which you're about to get to is gonna look like. Hopefully everything goes relatively cleanly going through turn one. I'm not sure how well it's going to go, but it's going to get a bit interesting by the time they get around into the second turn and get to the end of sector 1 at least. We'll see how that goes. Remember, there is a second straight leading up there for that next turn, so we'll see how well the guys can keep it on through going on to that. Okay, so getting started on the formation lap here right now, we'll be having back a look at the starting grid in just a bit. Let me just make sure we got our stats correctly up on screen. I'll keep this on tires here so you guys can have a look what tires these guys are going to be starting the race on itself here. So as we have it for the starting grid, we can see our top 10 cars are going to be all be starting on the soft tires there. You got Mosh there, Event, Reflection, and T-Lock will be starting on the mediums, and then King Schemo back on the softs down at the back of the grid. So it's going to be an interesting strategy. It's a 29 lap race around the Bahrain International Circuit. Here we got Professor starting in P1 here on the grid. We got Martin alongside him for second. Mogi will start third. Desert Rat will start fourth on the grid. Ian starting fifth. Callum will start sixth. Gino starts seventh. Ryan starts eighth. Boltex King will start 9. Oliver starts 10. Moshi in 11th. Reflection 12. T-Lock in 13. And King Schemo there in 14. So gonna be quite interesting to see what the run down into turn 1 will look like. Remember in qualifying that we had Professor Martin only separated by 100th of a second on their qualifying laps at the end of that session. So and Mongi really wasn't too far off, just about another 10th. I think Deseret was another 10th off of that. So it's gonna be quite close between these guys to see how well that start is gonna go. We'll just ignore that strategy there because we know the guys really are not gonna be using that. So we think, I think basically what might happen, some of these guys might be aiming just for a one-sub strategy in a race such as this. Is 29 laps around here. We're just about close to a minute and a half for a lap time. So we'll see how they decide to do this. They might be running a soft, hard strategy just to keep it a one-sub. Of course, they do have to account for safety cars, VSCs, and whatnot in the race because those sort of incidents do change the aspect of a race up quite a bit, especially when drivers on the back take an emergency stop or a quick pit stop during a safety car. They save a lot of time and then tend to gain quite a few positions later on in the race if it does come to their advantage. It just depends on a lot of different things. So we're going to see how well that's going to go. We're going to keep this over here on position changes. You guys can have a look at that on the opening lap, as it's quite difficult to sometimes follow what happens on the opening lap of a race, because I'm just trying to focus on most of the cars getting on through. Alright, so waiting for that start to happen here right now, which I think we're just about ready to get on to. So we're on board right now with Martin. Let's see between him and Professor who gets a better run down into turn 1. And they're off, and looks like Martin gets a split second faster run, and he's gonna get ahead of Professor already as they get through to almost side by side they go. And looks like Deseret is getting up in between of that. Professor is I think he might be down, almost falling down to a turret, but he got back the position up. He's trying to get on the inside and out, get back the place out in front. Martin keeps the lead so far, going through Professor and Deseret side by side and going around the next straight. It might not go so well for Professor here, but he still pushes on through, gets around. He's holding on to second place, while Deseret is side by side with him, now gets up into second and takes that position with Ian running in fourth there, just behind the Professor at the moment, about 3 tenths behind. So far so good. Martin out front trying to get a bit of a lead. He's already about 6 tenths ahead. We got Ian and I think someone trying to go side by side, and Ian is down at the back. Something's happened to his car. I'm trying to have a look at what's happened to him, and he's probably spun around just a bit. He's trying to get back going. Might have some damage on that car, I'm not sure as yet. We'll have a look at that in just a bit, see what's happening. Back up in the midfield of the grid, Jenner and Monkey fighting it out for 5th place right now. Out in front, I think they're starting to get a bit of a gap starting to form. As we can see what position changes actually look like there on the opening lap of the race. Quite a bit of position changes happening. So Professor lost the lead on that start. He's down to 3rd so far in the grid. Martin gained a position. He's up into the lead. Deseret gained 2 positions. He is up to 2nd. Was fighting it quite a bit. We got Jenner and yeah, Jenner and Mogi fighting side by side. Let's see how well that's going through for them. Bit of minor contact between them as they get on back to that straight. About to go straight into the lap 2. Martin gets the fastest lap in the session so far, 1:32.3, as Jenner goes down to 5th right now. Callum gets past him on that pit straight going, so a lot of straight line speed on Callum's car with the setup that he's running right now. Still side by side back again with Jenner fighting it through for that position. Down the back, King Scheme on T-Lock fighting it for a position there as well. So interesting start on that race so far. We still got all 14 drivers running on track, so that's a good note to see. At least we know it was quite a clean start. Mookie back up into the position right there where he started. I think our leaderboard is getting a bit mixed up, so we're going to ignore that for the bit. Let's take this back over the tires, and we should have everything go back to normal in just a bit. We know that it is Martin leading. So far so good on that race start there, guys. So back out in front, we're following out with Martin here. He's about 6 tenths ahead of Deseret, who's currently running 2nd. Professor down to 30. He might want to redeem himself on this one. He might be trying to get some sort of advantage, maybe with the pit stops coming up later on in the session. We'll see where he does try to gain his advantage. But Gabs down in the back seems to start to actually form just a bit there right now by a second to a few seconds. I'm trying to see how well that is going to be going. But out in front, gap is pretty close between Deseret and Martin right now. Of course, no DRS advantage available just as yet, but that's going to be coming on pretty soon. So I just have to put on telemetry for now so we can see what is happening on track here. But interesting when that race starts so far, very clean, and I think the guys are going to keep it going that way as much as it can for the rest of the race. Hopefully we can have all 14 drivers finish this race. It's going to be interesting, especially for the opening race of the season, so we'll see how that's going to go. And looks like Mogi has some damage on his right front wing, on the right part of his front wing. He does have some damage. He is about 2 tenths only behind Callum, still chasing him down. As you can see, the damage on the front wing, the end plate on the right side is missing from that car there, so that definitely is going to drastically affect his performance on track. But he somehow seems to be keeping up with Callum. He's lost a few tenths right now, does have Mosh coming just behind him there, in about 5 tenths behind. So it'll be interesting to see where he pushes that car through the grid, because I'm not sure, is he going to repair that damage when he does get in for his pit stop, because it is going to cost him some extra time in the pits to actually get that done. So we'll see if he decides to do that or not. But as we have it, it's going pretty well for Marsh down the back here in P7, getting about 3 to 4 tenths behind Mogi right now. He's going to try to get that overtake done if he can, but he needs to get a bit closer. I think maybe about 2 tenths behind, try to get a gap and possibly get overtake done, or maybe on one of the straight, most likely on that pit straight. As I think that was Jenner going wide. Yep, it was Jenner going wide the back. We're still getting used to the libraries and whose car is whose right about now, but yep, Jenner did go a little bit wide. I'm not sure. It doesn't look like he got a penalty draft. I think he got a warning there though, but Bultexing gets a penalty there right now for track limits. He's currently in 9th and going. Let's have a look on board here with Marsh 2 tenths behind, and this is out in front, Desert Rat and Professor, I think, are fighting it out. Professor and Ryan right now fighting it at the moment out front, but this gap has gotten back just a bit. Gino now gets a penalty for track limits as well, exceeding track limits there, so they got to be a bit careful about that. But this thing is just about a 10th off right now of Oliver side by side with him and trying to get that position. Not sure who's has the inside. I think Boltex has the outside as he does get around. Oh, and he does lose the rear. A bit of contact between the two cars, and they take damage from that. I think Oliver's car took some extensive damage on the front wing. I know he's missing the right end, the left end plate, sorry, but I'm not sure how much damage was taken there. Damage level up to 51 on that on the left side, so it's quite a bit of significant damage on that car, and that's going to cost him just a bit when he does go into the pit, because he's going to have to take a stop to get that repaired. I'm not sure if he's going to continue on track, at least for now. We got I think Ian going side by side with someone here. He does have King Schemo about 3/10 behind, so a pretty close gap to work with, but he has to be a bit careful about that, not to lose that position there. Oh, the front gap is about 2/10 right now between Martin and Deseret. Trying to have a look and see how close it's getting during the run down the pit straight here. And you can see Martin trying to keep Deseret out of that slipstream, because he does have the DRS advantage here right now. He's going to probably try to take it on inside, but no, just think about it though, and really trying to push it on through still and see if he can get that position up, trying to get some sort of advantage. He's right up to the rear of Martin's car, but still not able to get by. Going down the next straight, that's about a 10th between them. They're not going to go side by side. He's going to take it on the outside. Maybe some minor contact, I'm not sure, but they're still fighting on through for that. Looks like Deseret might be taking away the lead if this goes his way right now. Deseret gets the fastest sector one time there as well, and he's not able to get the lead way as yet. Professor coming between the battle there right now, trying to get alongside him, but has to hold back his position there in third on the racing line. They also have Ryan trying to get in on this as well, so 4 cars basically fighting enough for the lead of the race as we have it right now. Now go back down to Ryan, see where he is right now. He's having a pretty good look at what's happening out in front of him. So back on here with Deseret, still trying to get that position up if he can. It's going quite well so far. And we're only on a lap 5 of 29. The race has gone quite interesting. We do have 3 cars with penalties right now. We got Oliver, Boltesking, and Gina there with penalties, and looks like Ian is joining that group there as well. That special group of drivers with penalties in a race. Ryan getting pretty close once again to Professor. They're trying to get a run on him going down to turn 1. Everyone trying to keep the car behind them out of that slipstream, but not working too well. We got a double battle going into turn 1 as we have it between Deseret and Martin and Professor and Ryan. Car still going side by side, trying to switch position. Deseret still side by side with Martin. Looks like he might be having the inside run on this one to try to get that position away from him and see if he actually gets that done. So Martin goes just a bit wide. That's Deseret up into the lead right now, so gets away with that. Professor still holds on to third place though, away from Ryan. He's not allowed him to take that away. He makes a bit of a mistake there, and looks like Ryan will have it on the inside and might get the position up right now. Maybe some minor contact between them as they get around there as well. So far, some really good racing going on. Deseret is back up into the lead of this race right now. Takes that away from Martin. He's down to second, 5/10 behind. He's going to have his DRS advantage given to him now. Professor still running third, trying to keep Ryan away from taking away that position, but he goes on the inside, and maybe a bit of contact once again with the 2 of them. Doesn't look like any of them took any damage. We got Mosh Young in the back trying to get past Tino there for the position as well. Let's have a look on well that's going on, and that's not going too well as Jenner is out of the session. Barely caught that, and that's caused a full safety car for that incident there, and Marsh might be reported for that. I'm not sure if he was at fault or not, but that will be decided by the race tours down with the end. But that's definitely an incident probably worth investigating at the end of the race to see what exactly happened between those 2. They did get quite close off, and that ended very badly for Jenner there. Marsh might have taken some damage. Yep, he did take some damage on the left side of that car, as we can see there. Some significant damage to that front wing there as well. He's going to get into the pits there right now. So we have a number of cars into the pits here at the moment. So pit lane is quite busy on this one. Even Deseret, Martin, all of them are all into the pits. It's lap 7 of 29 right now we're getting into, and they're getting back out on track. We're still under the safety car, which they're going to be following under. So interesting enough, first safety car of the race happened on lap 6 there, I think that was. a bit, quite an incident. So let's see what's been happening. Yep, so Marsh did take quite an amount of damage there on that one there. And looks like Ian received his 5-second stop-go penalty for hitting Jenner. Marsh was finally changed out his front wing. I think he got a penalty for getting into it with Jenner there on track as well. Quite interesting with the pit stops times there as well. Alright guys, so that's our first car out of the session. Unfortunately, we're on to lap 7 still of 29 here, following on with the safety car right now. So as we have the grid as we have it, let's have a look how many drivers took pit stops on that one there. So everyone's finally taken a mandatory pit stop in this race so far. They can now go on to the end of the race if they like, which they definitely all probably will, except for those on the soft tires. I'm not sure where the strategy is going to be if Professor King Schemo and T-Lock are going to be doing a second stop, which they probably will have to, because I don't think those tires are making it to the end of the race. But yeah, quite a traumatic incident happening. I think everyone should be okay on that one though, but let's have a look back here. Position changes happening. Mogi lost quite a lot of positions in this race. He's down to 13th on the grid, lost 10 positions there. Desert Rat gained 3 so far. Martin right there back where he started. Professor back down to 3rd. He's lost 2, and Ryan there up to 4 positions up. I think he started down there in 8th. So interesting so far how it's gone. Penalties that we have are 3 seconds for Boltex team there. We got a 5 second for T-Lock, 5 second for Oliver, 8 seconds for Ian there. I think 5 of those 5 seconds of those is a stop go penalty, which he might have to suffer in the next pit stop. I'm not sure. We'll see what the situation is with that. But as it is right now, as our grid is sorted on through, still being a safety car, Deseret now leads this race with Martin there in 2nd. And they're not running on medium, which possibly they can push the end of the race. We'll see how that goes for them. Professor now running 3rd. Ryan up to 4th, Column in 5th. We got Reflection all the way up into 6th. Boltex runs 7. King Schema runs 8 now. Ian up into 9th. Oliver in 10th. Marsh there in 11th. We got T-Lock running 12. Mogi in 13. And then unfortunately Jenner there is out of this race following that incident early on that actually caused a safety car. So we'll see how the rest of this is going to play off through. But has gone quite interestingly from the race start up to this point so far. And looks like everyone has actually gotten back up to the safety car there right now. So we're just going to wait for that to actually get going before we do get back started with the race. We're just going to wait for the safety car to go back in. We should have that graphic coming up on screen pretty soon. So we'll see when that does happen. Okay, so back out with it on track here. Let's have a look, see where we are right now. So into lap 9 at the moment. I think our safety car should be going back into the pits on this lap. We should get back racing on lap 10. Gives us about 19 laps or so of racing left to go with. See how that's gonna work out here right now. So just waiting on confirmation on that. We gotta wait until the cars get into sector 3 on the current lap here, so then we get a notification on whether that safety car is gonna go in or not here. Someone falling down the other the back. What's happening with both testing down the back here? I think something's definitely happened. Not sure how he got all the way down at the back, but something interesting enough happened down at the back there. So we're back racing here right now. Let's have a look and see what's happening with Desert Rat getting past the sector so far. Not even paying attention to what has been happening. Alright, so 3/10 is where the gap is between Desert Rat and Professor right now. Going down that straight. Martin's lost off down second place. He's down to third. Professor getting the fastest lap as he chases after this rat into the turn 1. I'm probably trying to just keep it behind him at least for now to see how that's going to work out for him. The gap is still quite close, about 3/10 between the two of them, so I think he's going to work on trying to get away back with the lead if he can right now. It's still quite a close gap again. Martin still keeping up with them though. He's about 6 cents behind. Ryan another 1.2 seconds behind. He's fallen a bit back after that safety car went in. So we'll see how that's going to work for him. Down in the back, T-Lock is trying to keep up with Marsh there for P9, but I'm not sure how well that's going. But out in front is where the closest gap we have right now between Desert Rat and Professor. We're going to see if that's going to be changing anytime soon, because that DRS advantage definitely helping out the Professor as he tries to get ahead. But I think he's just waiting for the best possible moment to make that overtake, and he is on the soft tires, which are the faster tires here in the session, because we do have this rat on the mediums, just about at a 10th slower or so from that. But we'll see how well that's going to work for him going down the straight, because he needs to keep Professor just a bit further than 5/10 back if he wants to keep that lead, because he definitely will have the DRS advantage and will use a bit of overtake as well, trying to get that overtake done. And DRS is now back online, so let's see what sort of advantage comes with that. We're into lap 11 of this race right now, going on through. Still gap is about 4/10 between them. Moki down in the back there trying to get past T-Lock right now. Side by side, the two of them go and see who's going to get that position up, and looks like Moki gets it up into 10th place. That's T-Lock down to 11th, unfortunately for him. Going back out front here. Having back, let's see what's happening with these two once again. Those soft tires are working pretty well for Professor to keep up right now with this rat, but will he be able to get it overtake done with? I'm not sure, because the gap is going between 3 to 6/10 and just going and coming quite a bit. So waiting to see what the situation is going to be with that by the time the end of maybe lap 15, if he's going to be able to get overtake done with, because Desert Rat might be pushing for that car to go to all the way to the end of the race. I'm not sure if it can on the medium tires here on track, but we'll see what the tire wear is going to be like by the time he gets maybe to lap 20. And there goes Professor into the lead. That's Desert Rat down to second. His gap still about 6, and he has the DRS advantage to work with, so let's see how that's going to work for him. Okay, so back on the overhead camera right now. Let's see how well this is going through the rest of the grid. So Professor leads currently into lap 12. We are 5/10 behind his head. So Martin's still keeping up with these two, and he's in third with 6/10. What is what the gap is right now. He's trying to break that down. Ryan's still quite a bit back. He's lost about another 3/10 because he's in fourth with about 1.3, 1.4 seconds behind. Got Callum there running fifth, another 7/10. Ian a bit away back. He's about 3 seconds behind Callum right now. Has some time to catch up with. Let's see how well that's going to work for him. And Reflection there running 7th. Marsh in 8th. King's Hebo in 9th. Mogi in 10th, about a second behind. He's trying to gain some time on T-Lock, who he got past just about a lap ago or so. All over there running 12th. Botex quite a way back though, about 10.9 seconds behind. He's trying to catch up as much as he can right now. So those soft tires definitely work pretty well for Professor out in front to get back the lead of the race, but we'll see how the tire wear is going to be by the time he gets around to lap 20. But looks like the way it's going, it might be able to, with the mediums I'm seeing for Desert Rat and Martin and Callum there, they probably will be able to take those tires to the end of the race. We'll keep an eye on the wear level of them as he gets on to the rest of the race here. Ryan here and Callum switching positions. That's Callum into 4th right now. So Ryan having some trouble with those hard tires, getting them maybe up to fully up to temperature, and he's not having the best of luck with them, especially on the track here. So we'll see if it further fails him, because the car behind is running on mediums there as well. That's Ian about 3.9 seconds behind though, so a bit of a gap to work with. Let's see if he's able to catch up and possibly get ahead, because Ryan is not doing too well on the hard tires at the moment here. I think his lap times have dropped just a bit since he's actually switched to them. Maybe not getting them up to the right temperature, I'm not sure. But back up to Martin here, still about 5 tenths behind us, so we're trying to keep up with him. We can see Ryan still trying to keep up with Callum here. He's about 3 to 5 tenths behind. I want to see if any DRS advantage will help him out as we are about to get onto that pit straight here. And looks like Callum was thinking about going into the pits but didn't. I'm not sure why he just swerved to that end. Maybe just trying to play some mind games there with Ryan. Let's see how that's going for him, because Ryan is taking it on the inside of turn 1 right now to try to get back 4th position in this race, and looks like it has actually worked out for him, because he's gotten the position back up. That's Callum back down to 5th. Ian's still quite a way back. He's still about 3.9 to 4.1 seconds behind. He's trying to catch up as much as he can, but I'm not sure how well that's actually working for him right now. These two are still at it here. Ryan and Callum still fighting it off for P4 in the race. This is a pretty important position to be in, because it just gets you one step closer there to getting onto the podium, because they're only 3 seconds away from Martin right now. Of course, catching up with Martin might be a difficult challenge here, as they're trying to just fight for the lead out front. That's between Professor and Desert Rat and Martin itself, all within a second of total of each other at the moment and going. And they're gaining time on Ryan and Callum as they get ahead, as these two are fighting it down behind. So that's what's happening. They're going back down to Marsh here in 8th. Let's have a look. He's chasing after Reflection. They're trying to get ahead in 7th. Guys, so far so good in this race. We're on lap 14 of 29, just about the halfway point of the race, and we only have lost one driver in a bit of a major incident that happened, caused one safety car in this race around lap 6 early on. The rest of the race seems to be going pretty well so far. Callum and Ryan once again switch positions out front, following Marshall to see if he can get ahead of Reflection. Possibly try to take it on the inside, but actually just holds it back in the racing line for now. Doesn't want to risk it at the moment. And let's see if he's going to get him on the next DRS zone coming up here right now. He's going to have some good straight line speed, but maybe not enough straight to actually try to carry that out. So Callum is back up to 4th as we have it. As I said, Ryan back down to 5th. He's going to have to try and get the position back again if he does want it. Got Mogi chasing after King Schemo there for 9th place in this race so far. So far it's going pretty well. Out in front, it looks like Ryan is definitely starting to catch back up as they get around turn 10 here. He's catching back up to Callum, has the DRS advantage going down that straight, has a bit of slipstream advantage there as well. And I think he's going to keep that going on through to turn 11 here right now, but he's not going to be able to get by with an overtake as yet. This might carry on through back to the pit straight on that DRS zone, and possibly might be able to get overtake down there if he does get him into the braking zone going into turn 1. Let's see how that's going to go. Mogi getting a very close gap right now on King Schemo. Let's see if they're going side by side on that one. Not as yet, but they might just be on to that there in just a bit. Gap has gotten away from us once again. Let's have a look down the pit straight with Ryan and Callum. Callum trying to keep him out of the slipstream. As you can see, they're moving side to side out in front. But it's not working too well, as he's going to be forced now to take the outside though. A bit of marine contact between the two cars. And looks like he might not get the position up. And gotta see what's happening out front as well, because Martin and Professor are fighting it out. And Deseret has fallen down quite a few positions. I'm not sure if he took any damage, but what's happening out front, because Martin is out into the lead. And Professor is now down into second. Might have just been an error in driving, because I don't see any damage on any cars. But either way, that's Martin up into the lead of this race. I don't think he's going to give that away. Professor down to second on right now as we have it. Ryan now up to third after getting back his position away from Callum there. A pretty good overtake from him. Had to pull it around the outside of third one, but finally actually got that done again. Gap out front increasing to about 8/10 between Martin and Professor, so he's trying to build up lead. Got another second already. He's trying to keep Professor out of his DRS range if possible at this point here right now. Ryan about 5.3 seconds behind all of this, and I'm not sure what happened to Desert Rat earlier, but he fell down quite a few positions there. Guys, going back to this, let's have a look on how this is going here right now, because Ian, someone's in the pits. Who's in the Professor is into the pits. Might have some damage on his car. Let's have a look right now. No, I don't think he has damage, or maybe he has a drive through penalty. I'm not sure what happened. Something did happen early on in the session. We're back here at Ian, who's side by side right now with Desert Rat fighting for a position for P4, and looks like Ian currently holds on to it, but Desert Rat still trying to fight it through. I think either of them got an extra penalty off of that. So still about a 2 to 3/10 gap right now between Deseret and Ian here. They're still fighting it off through for P4. Out in front, Martin's gotten quite a lead going, 6.4 seconds ahead of Ryan right now, who's on the hard tires. As you said, Ryan seems to be struggling on those hard because he's fallen quite a way back from the car in front. Martin on the mediums getting away quite well. And he's now into lap 18 of this race. So quite a gap that he has, and he's going to continue extending that lead as much as he can. Callum about 9/10 behind Ryan. He's trying to keep within the DRS range if he can. Ian's starting to lose a bit of time right now. He's only about 4/10 behind Desert Rat. Gets quite close going down into turn 1, but he's going to have to hope that the DRS advantage does help him out. Doesn't have a lot of ERS to use here for overtake, but he's using whatever he has. And as we have it, a 3/10 gap right now between the two of them, still fighting for that position. Reflection is about 4 seconds behind of this. Martian at a 1.4, Mogan at a 1.5, then follows Oliver, Professor in 10th. Right now he was running quite out front in this race, and unfortunately is down to the back of the grid there right now. Alright, so let's have a look what's happening down in the midfield, down the back of the grid here. So we got Professor and I think Oliver fighting side by side for P8 at the moment. Oliver doesn't want to give the position up. Goes a bit wide around the outside, but still holds on alongside him. And looks like Professor will have the inside going to the next turn. Final turn, I'll try getting back to the pit straight, and looks like he does get it done. Ian is into the pits right now. Let's have a look on board and see how this is going to go. If he does get some advantage getting down the straight, and the DRS did help but didn't get quite close enough to get the overtake done with. So still about 4 to 6 tenths is what the gap is, and it's going to keep that way at least for now. Ian going on to a new set of soft tires there, and that's going to take him the next 10 laps to the end of the race there. So that's going to be his final pit stop. Now going back here in March, he's about 7 tenths behind Reflection for P4 in the race. This race has gone quite well. Qualifying was actually very, very interesting with the lap times that we have. Even though it's just a short qualifying session, imagine what would have happened had we had a full qualifying session and a few more drivers in. This would have been quite interesting. Hopefully we do get a bit of a more packed grid coming for round 2 next week. But we'll see how it goes in. But still not a bad force race for season 3 so far, because it's been quite interesting. Qualifying coming down to the start of that race was very close and very good battles, very good racing, clean from everyone. Until we had a bit of an incident with Jenner and another driver there, both texting out of the race as well. 12 drivers remain in this at the moment, and they're not running too bad off. Some gaps are starting to form though as we have it. Marsh here behind Reflection, 3 tenths is where the gap is, now down to 2 tenths, using the DRS advantage but not able to get alongside him as Yeba does get quite close. I remember we do have a second DRS zone coming up just in about 3 seconds here, and does get across that there right now, but let's see, that helps going into the next turn. I think you might just get a bit close, but we'll have to just keep the gap as close as possible, maybe within 2 tenths, getting around to the next lap, and maybe that's going to help him possibly get a position to get overtake done with. And we can see Reflection definitely has some competition right now with Monkey chasing him down. Sorry, Marsh. And Monkey's under 1.6 seconds, and he's not too far behind either. And we can see his car coming behind, but Marsh definitely trying to keep up with Reflection as much as he can. And we do have racing there, Martin into the pits, getting off those soft tires. Have a look at that right now. And Ryan will continue on into the lead of the race here right now. Finally, Ryan gets into the lead, and let's see how many laps that lead is going to last him, because he is on hard tires there. 13 laps done on them so far, and he looks like he's pushing for the next 8 laps to the end of this race. So Ryan leading, followed by Callum in second. Reflection now running third. He's on the hards as well, but Callum in second, running on the mediums. 13 laps so far. Can they make it another 8 laps or so? It's going to be a close call with that, but we'll see how it works. Marsh there running fourth. Mogi running fifth on the hards as well. Professor running sixth on fresh medium, so he definitely will make it to the end of the race on those. And then Martin here now out on track back again on fresh soft tires as we have it, and it's about 3.1 seconds away from Professor, so going to be a bit of a battle between the two of them for that position, because he's going to fight his way back up the field in the next few laps that we have left in the race here. Oliver here running in 8th has a penalty though. Ian as well has a penalty, now running in 9th. They're going to have to try and get rid of those, but that will be added to the race times at the end. If they do another stuff to get maybe up for 5 seconds or so. Then we got T-Lock in 11th. There's a Rap running 12th here right now, and he was running out in the lead of the race earlier on. He's on fresh soft tires right now, and seems to be disconnected from his car here. Maybe what's been causing the incidents with him. We'll see if he gets back connected or not, but let's get back out in front, see what's happening with Marsh and Reflection here right now. On board with Marsh, he's about 2 tenths behind Reflection, still chasing him down for that position, and I don't think he's going to give up fighting for it, because it's a podium position is what they're fighting for right now. And who doesn't want to be on the podium for the first race of the season? And there goes Marsh taking a penalty, goes too wide off the final turn, getting onto the pit straight, goes side by side with Reflection here right now, and he's going to have the inside into turn 1. Might actually get that overtake done with. Looks like he does, and puts Reflection down into 2nd place here. And Deseret needs an invite account to Mark there in the chat, but I don't think I have him added on my account, or I would have added him back into the session here. But we didn't have too much going on. We could have just added him, but I don't think I have him added on my end. Marsh there about 2 to 4 tenths behind. He's still trying to keep a reflection as much as he can. Probably a good idea to have a system in place for that to get drivers back into a session. Bulldog King and General are out of the race. I'm not sure if they're still in the lobby though. If they are in, hopefully they can get them back in. Down at the back here, I think Professor and Mogi fighting it side by side with Oliver trying to get in, no sorry, with Mark trying to get out of that. And that is Mogi out of the race, unfortunately. Let's see if we can have a look at his car, and there's his car at the side of the track there, and that's gonna cause maybe just a yellow flag. Apparently not a safety car because the car is off track, so I guess it's not in the way of racing. But yeah, that is unfortunately Mogi out. That was he was involved in a bit of an incident there with another driver, I think, so I'm not sure if anyone was at fault with that. We'll see how that's gonna go. Going down the pit straight to see what's happening here as two cars finally getting off track as well. Martin and Professor, I think, and they got a bit off track, some damage on those cars as well as Martin, Marsh and Professor fighting it on through for a position. We got cars off track here at the moment, and that is Marsh off track as well as Martin. I think severe damage on both cars right now. I think Martin has lost his entire front wing. He's gotten back on track, but quite a tremendous incident for them. And that definitely is going to bring out a full safety car here on lap 23 right now. So I think the stewards are definitely going to have to get to work at the end of this session here to see and sort out those incidents that happen. Hopefully everyone recorded their race and have you know, their video to show, just to if they're going to do any reporting at the end of this. Going back down to Marsh here, so yes, definitely some bad damage on that car. No, Martin is missing his entire front wing right now. He has to get back into the pits and get that taken care of. Hopefully it didn't affect the performance of the car itself. It looks like Jenner got a penalty for speeding in the pit lane there. Which I guess quite an incident happening there. So that's our second or third biggest incident of this race so far. So unfortunately Mogi out now as well. That was just before this safety car incident happened. Let's have a look what's happening out front, because quite a few pit stops. Ryan back into the pits there as well. He's getting back out on fresh soft tires right now. Professor now back up into the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix. He's running 6 laps on those mediums, which definitely will take him to the end. But Ryan coming back out, he's going to be catching back up to the safety car queue. He's going to be right up to the rear of Professor's car when we do decide to get back restarted with this race here. And on those fresh tires, he's going to have quite a bit of an advantage to try and get away with the lead of the race, and he might be looking at getting a race win here this evening if he plays this right, because Callum are running third as well, Reflection in fourth, all on soft tires, fresh soft tires. That is King's Scheme running fifth in 6 lap on his mediums. It's not a bad position for him, but of course Ian gonna be behind him, of course Oliver as well, Marsh and Martin all on fresh soft tires as well. There's a wrap now. He's taking another step, I think. He's on new soft tires as well. T-Lock running 11, 7 laps on his mediums. I don't think he's too worried about anything else happening, but yeah, quite an incident with that one there. I'm gonna try and get something set up so we can have replays happening with these incidents, at least to capture a bit of that and replay it back to see what exactly happened, because I do well, I think we all have to just wait until the stream ends right now before we can have back a look at that to see what exactly happened with those incidents. We'll be having some things added on a bit later on, so we can actually have a look at let's make at least about 10 to 15 seconds replay of any incidents that do happen on track, and brings out a safety car as well. So we're gonna try and get that set up, hopefully coming for next week. I'll see how it goes. Okay, so currently on lap 25 right now, we're left 11 drivers out of 14 who started this race. We're still behind a safety car, and I think we got just 2 drivers left to catch up. That's Deseret about 11 seconds behind, and T-Lock another 43 seconds behind him. So the 2 of them are still left to catch up to the safety car crew before we get back restarted, which hopefully might be at the end of this lap here, so we can get this race underway again and finish out the final few laps that are left here. It looks like Deseret has finally caught up to the queue, but T-Lock's still quite a way back. He's now getting across the start-finish line, and the rest of the grid is going through sector 2 at the moment, so I'm not sure if he'll be able to catch back up in time before the race gets back restarted. We're going to see how well that is going to go for him. But so far so good. Just waiting on the safety car to possibly go in. Okay, so let's have a look out front. What's happening with our grid here right now? That safety car is still out on track, not going back in as yet. So it looks like we're gonna have to wait one more lap. We're going into lap 26 here right now. It looks like we have the final 3 laps will be racing laps left in this race, so we got to go just one more lap under the safety car before we do get back going. So things have changed quite a bit since the start here, and we can have a look at the penalties as we have it right now. Just 2 3-second penalties for Ian and Marcher. Not too bad with penalties so far in the race as we have it. We've had quite a few pit stops from drivers, either some 2, some 3, and we have even one with 4 stops. Unfortunate for T-Lock here down in 11. And these are position changes as we have the Professor back up into P1 in this race right where he started. Of course, going to be under threat there of losing that position to Ryan or Callum or even any other driver behind him who has on fresh soft tires. We'll see how that works for him. But who's gained the most position so far? Looks like that is going to be King Schemo there, and no penalty on him either, so he might be looking at getting driver of the day at the end of the session. Just about 4 laps left, still one more lap on the safety car, and then 3 laps of racing to go before we do close out the session. But yeah, he is looking quite good at getting driver of the day. If he does get past Reflection, that's going to make it 10 for him. Or Reflection gets 1 up, that will probably make it 9 for him, so he might get it as well. So stands a chance with it. We'll see what the situation is going to be by the time we get off to the final lap there. But we'll put back penalties online again, so you guys can have a look at that before the race does end. So see if the 3-second penalties that Marsh and Ian has will affect their track position at the end of the race when the race results are reduced on screen there. Just waiting to see if we're getting any notification about that safety car coming in here. Oh, there we have. So safety car is going to be in on this lap. So we're just waiting for Professor to start and race and get back going here. Right now I think he's going to wait until he gets around the final turn. Try to get a bit of an advantage for himself and getting away from Ryan, because he doesn't want that car too close by to him as he gets back started here right now. Roman overtaking until he get across the line, but Callum getting pretty close off with Ryan trying to get up into second place. He could potentially get that position up if he does get it on the inside, which he's trying to do. Gets around and a bit of contact with his leader there, Professor, and does get ahead but not into the lead, but he does get into second, puts Ryan down to third. And Ryan seems to be having some trouble since he went onto those hard tires. Still not having the best of luck. He's down to third. Quite a few changes down at the back of the grid there as well. We're trying to keep an eye on what's happening out front. Professor still leads, so 4/10 where the gap is. Trying to increase the gap as fast as he can, keeping those cars and the soft tires away from him, as he knows they have an advantage over him, because Ryan's trying to get alongside Callum once again. But doesn't want to push it through. Of course, why is someone parked on a dangerous spot on track? I'm not sure what's happening with that. But another driver out. Alright, so Mogi is out of the race there as well on 14 laps on those tires. So 10 drivers left in, so not sure what's happening down in the back. I'll have a look at that in just a bit. Going on board right now, Ryan. 3/10 is where the gap is between him and Callum. But Callum is losing time to Professor out front, which he's trying to keep up with. He's still quite in view range, but still quite a way bit. But 9/10 is where the gap is. Not enough of a close of a gap for him to try and overtake at this point here, because we just got about 2.5 laps left, coming down to just about 2 laps left in the race right now. Martin here in 7 has quite an eventful race so far with him, even losing his entire front wing, down to 7th in this race right now and running just behind Oliver, trying to get a position up if he can. Into turn 1, he's going to possibly try goes alongside him, and he does. Takes it on the inside, looks like get that position quite easily up. Ian forcing it on the inside of Reflection there as well. He gets up into 4th, Reflection down to 5th, and Martin is up to 6th, and I think March has got up to 7th against Oliver down in the back there as well. I don't think he actually got that position up, and Reflection about to lose another position here as Martin is trying to get alongside him, and definitely will push on through for that position, but I don't think he's allowing it. He might be looking at a possible incident before this race comes to an end if drivers are not careful around here, because they're pushing a lot right now on the tires, seeing that they are fresh. Hopefully they're all up to temperature by now, because he did do quite a few laps under that safety car with those tires, and got a bit of contact between Martin and Marsh there. I think someone lost a bit of front wing, and that was Marsh losing the left side of the end plate. He's going side by side with Reflection into turn 11. Still holds on to his position so far as we have it. All over there, just about a 10th behind Reflection as well. He's really trying to get that position up. So cars do have damage going on through lap 28 right now. Not sure if Oliver has any damage on this car, but I think Reflection might be having some minor damage, because he did have some contact in that through turn 10 there as well. Our front gap is now back down to about 3/10 at the moment between Professor and Callum, so still fighting it off for that position. He's definitely under pressure right now to lose that lead. Forces Callum around the outside, and let's see if he's able to get that position up, because on those mediums he's having a bit of a disadvantage with that in terms of race pace, and 11 laps down on them. He's lost the lead and back down to 2nd. Ryan alongside him, fighting it for the position right now. Takes it on the outside, and Professor has the inside, but still holds the position. Doesn't want to give it up, because coming down to lap 29 at this point. No penalties on the top 3, so they're going to try to keep the positions as they are. Ian there 2/10 behind them, trying to fight for a position as well. He has a penalty to work with though, so let's see if that's going to keep up with him going to the end. At just 3 seconds, so without the gap that he has, he might be losing that position, because Martin is only 2.3 seconds behind him, now 2.4, and has just about 1.5 sector left on track to do this if he can. Needs about 7/10 more if he wants to keep 4th position at the end of the race, but that doesn't look like he will be able to do that, because gap is just keeping around 2.3, 2.4, so it looks like he will have to lose that position and go down to 4th after they get across the line. Martin probably will be taking away 4th on this one and push Ian down to 5th. Reflection and Marsh both have penalties, so we'll see how that works itself out. So about to get across the line very soon, and that looks like it's going to be Callum taking the win, getting that position up close after the end of the race, and takes the win for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Not a bad finish for him. Professor takes 2nd, Ryan goes across the line, takes 3rd. Ian and Martin switch positions because of penalties. Martin takes 4th, and Oliver takes 5th. Ian all the way down to 6th because of that penalty. Reflection takes 7th. Alright, we're going to have a look at the final results before we do close off the session. Driver of the day went to Oliver, and that one gained the most positions, got the most overtake done, I think, in the race itself. I think it was Reflection 6, Boltex 7, King Simo was 8, Ian 9th, Oliver 10th, Marsh 11th, Jenna 12th, Mogi 13th. Anyway, let's wait on the results and have a look at that before we do get a close off here though. I mean, not a bad finish. It was still a clean enough race. Quite a few incidents in it though, causing about at least about 2 safety cars. Alright, so first race for Season 3, and Callum takes the win for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Looks like Professor takes second place on the podium. Unfortunately losing out on that race win because of those medium tires. I think that's cost him quite a bit. Ryan takes third place on the podium. Martin will take fourth in this race. Oliver takes fifth. Ian takes sixth there because of penalties, but does get fastest lap in the session itself. Reflection takes 7. Marsh gets 8. Got T-Lock in 9 days, finishing 10th, and I think not finishing the race we got Mogi 11, Boltesing in 12, Jenner 13, Kinski there in 14, and he was disqualified for something. I'm not sure. There was some information about someone being parked in a dangerous portion on the track, so I'm not sure what that situation was about. Anyway guys, thank you for everyone who joined on to the session. Please guys, make sure you guys leave a like on the stream, and remember to subscribe to the channel if you're new on here, and do check out the scheduled streams we have, because at least that will let you know when the next stream should be on. That should be on live tomorrow, about the same time that we got started with this session here. That's going to be 7 p.m. GMT and 2 p.m. Eastern time, at least for me. So I'll see you guys on the next stream.